Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another weekly dose of aviation. This plane was taking off but had to abort its takeoff. This was done too late, causing the plane to overrun the runway. Luckily, no one was injured and the plane came to a stop. This man ran across the ramp in Atlanta and got all the way to a plane before being arrested.
Yeah, 192. Flight attendants informed us that there is somebody who opened an overwing exit and is on the wing. Getting ready to jump off.
Where? I don't see one. Oh, here they come.
Right there.
I wonder what happened.
12 years ago, this China Airlines plane caught on fire and was captured on video. This F-16 had a tail strike while landing.
Guys hinten aufzeichnen. Ja, verloren. Hast du gesehen? Ja.
This plane taking off just a few feet overhead. This 747 being pushed back manually. This paramotor had an engine failure, but luckily, even after a hard landing, no one was injured. This Cessna braked too hard, causing it to flip over after landing.
Oh! Bugger!
This Blue Angels F-18 doing a low pass. This helicopter did a tower flyby at the biggest airport in Sweden.
Så ska det låta.
Fan vad coolt. Får vi göra så här egentligen?
Why not?
Man önskar ju man hade det.
This plane bounced down the runway, causing the landing gear to break.
Fuck it.
This plane crashed during an air show, but luckily no one was injured.
Oh shit! Shit!
This plane also braked too hard, causing it to flip over. This plane's landing gear failed while it was landing at an air show.
Jesus Christ.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, luckily everything is okay. There was a serious issue with the aircraft. Very well done, Chris Godka. Magnificent handling.
This helicopter rescuing someone in a canyon. This plane had an engine failure and had to land in a field. This plane had just refueled on a road and tried to take off again, but instead hit a vehicle. Luckily, no one was injured.
Apparently, the truck that brought the fuel didn't get out of his way enough, so he wound up crashing on takeoff, and I'll probably rethink the intelligence of doing that.
This tow truck caught on fire while towing an A340, but luckily no one was seriously injured. This helicopter took off from a road and accidentally hit a power line. This plane doing an engine run accidentally tore down a brick wall and a palm tree behind it. This plane's landing gear collapsed after landing, but luckily no one was injured. This guy flew his plane through the Eiffel Tower back in 1984, and this is how it looked from the cockpit. This guy almost crashed into the water during an air race. This C-130 dropping cargo over Afghanistan. This A380 almost had to go around while landing in a crosswind.
Oh, no, has he got it? He's gonna go around. Is he gonna go around? Oh my God, look at it! Wow!
This helicopter rolled over at sea due to strong winds. This V-22 helicopter creating huge vortices while taking off. This is how an airport looks after a tornado. This plane had to make an emergency landing without one of its wheels, causing it to run off the runway, but luckily no one was injured.
Oh, look at the sparks. It's down. They're down.
This helicopter hit a lamppost while taking off from a parking lot. These guys pushing back a plane manually. The 727 landing at St. Martin came in too low and was just a few feet above the fence. This helicopter flying low right over a highway. This plane landed on a muddy field, causing the landing gear to get stuck in the ground. This German helicopter landing on a street in a residential area. This plane managed to land on a small strip of beach surrounded by water. Pilot practicing spins.
This feels great.
This Japanese helicopter landing on a small pier. This plane was coming in for a landing when a car didn't stop at the stop sign and ended up hitting the plane. This plane's jet blast caused the hangar to flip over, but luckily no one was injured.
I got that! I got it on camera! Oh shit! Oh fuck! Oh shit!
These paratroopers jumping out of planes together as part of an exercise. This A-10 shooting flares. These guys in Ukraine built their own helicopter and it actually worked. These C-130s flying in formation while shooting flares. This 737 landed so hard its landing gear collapsed, causing the plane to skid down the runway. This is how aerial refueling looks from the cockpit. This plane in Russia couldn't move because it was too cold, so the passengers got out and pushed it back manually. This is what firing missiles looks like from the cockpit. This helicopter crashed while trying to take off, but luckily no one was seriously injured. This car following a U-2 spy plane landing at an Air Force base.
5, 4, 3, there's 3, that's 2 right there, 2, 1.5, 1. Welcome home, gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
This plane crashed during an air show, but the pilot managed to climb out without any serious injuries. This Russian bomber showing off his afterburners. This helicopter delivering medical supplies to a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. This airport got hit by a sandstorm. This is how firing rockets from a helicopter looks. This plane doing a low flyby over a beach in the Maldives. This is what picking up water in a water bomber plane looks like from the cockpit. This is the aftermath of a tornado that struck an airport in Turkey.
Çok kötü. Antalya Havalimanı'nda çok kötü olaylar. Ya bu Korendon uçağı. Koca minibüs Korendon uçağını kaldırmış.
This is footage from one of the firemen that responded to the Asiana Airlines Flight 214 that crashed in San Francisco. These water bombers were picking up water right next to a cruise ship. This airport in Switzerland goes across an active road, so planes sometimes have to cross it. This is how the fire suppression system in an airport hangar looks. The Spanish F-18 flying next to a 767 to assess its damage over Madrid. This is what flying really close to the ground looks like from the cockpit of an F-16. This is how flying a jet-powered wingsuit over Dubai looks. This C-130 doing a low flyby and dropping flares.
Word je ook gek?
This flying boat is a mixture of a boat and an ultralight, and this is how it looks in action. These pilots had to abort the takeoff, but the plane couldn't slow down in time. This C-130 creating vortices behind its propellers. This plane had to land without its landing gear.
Fuck.
This propeller synced up perfectly with the frame rate of the camera, making it look like the propeller isn't moving. This plane had crashed in the water, but after a while the engine turned back on without anyone in the plane.
Oh boy.
Is there somebody in there doing that?
The jet is now powering forward.
This Black Hawk intercepting a Cessna that violated prohibited airspace as part of an exercise.
Yeah, you can continue eastbound for now, and we'll follow you and escort you out. Yeah, Charlie Papa, good job, thanks guys. We're heading back to our orbit.
This 737 had landing gear problems and landed so hard that the tail struck the runway. This happened at an airport in Russia, and no one was injured except the plane.
Смотрите нас в новостях, нахуй. Блядь. Нахуй.
This helicopter doing challenging maneuvers while filming a movie scene for Fast and Furious 8. plane taking off from a small dirt runway in a rainforest. The V-22 Osprey crashed during a test flight back in 1991, but no one was injured. This is how it looked. This is how it looks behind the scenes of an air-to-air photo shoot. This helicopter pilot flying really low through a rainforest. This Harrier jet showing off its vertical landing abilities on an aircraft carrier. These planes flew right next to each other to film a commercial. This is how flying above another plane looks. This guy tried to film with his phone out of an open window, but it didn't really work out. This helicopter was parked in the road when a truck drove into its propeller. This Lufthansa A320 had a wing strike while landing in a crosswind. This 747 hit a catering truck while taxiing.
Oh shit! Fuck!
This fighter jet flying right behind a cargo plane. This is like a car wash for planes. This guy was filming out his window when they flew by a crashed plane on the side of the runway. This helicopter pilot flying in a forest fire.
I'm kind of back because your tail rotor's clear, was close.
All right, are we okay now?
All right, you're clear now.
All right.
That was close.
Yeah, it was.
This plane's wing struck another plane while taxiing. This firefighting plane doing a low flyby.
HH, golf.
This fuel truck crashed into a wing. This pilot managed to land on a pickup truck.
As well. All right, Camp Beach has the interstate cadet just above the airport. Sets it down. He rolls ahead. You think he's got it?
I think he does. What do you think, folks? Has he done it this?
This is how a plain boneyard looks from above.